So hello and welcome to yet another episode of NetSupport Radio. Joining me on the show today we have Andy Earp, who is our technical support lead here at NetSupport, and I'm really excited to learn more about one of our products from NetSupport today, NetSupport Service Desk. Before we get into that, Andy, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. I'm excited to learn more. In our last session, if you haven't watched that, please do go back and watch our previous session. But in our previous session, I learned so very much. We've got some fantastic products here at NetSupport, and it's great to learn how they can help businesses thrive and all of this. And I'm sure that NetSupport Service Desk is going to be just the same. So first question for you then, Andy, for those who don't know, what is NetSupport Service Desk?
Okay, so the NetSupport Service Desk is a browser-based, self-hosted incident, problem, and change request tool. So it's an ideal solution for a team if they need to record items that are being raised to them. So a technical team, if they're recording jobs that are being raised to them for maybe, end users that might have issues with hardware or issues with software on their devices, or all types of IT related things. But it's not just limited to being used by IT teams. It's also used by kind of site maintenance teams. They use it for logging jobs that are posted to them, as they're dealing with different items on their site that they're looking after. So it's really a nice tool that allows you to collect and record and keep a history of all your information, so you can show what your team is working on, what you've resolved in the last month or last week, and any outstanding items. So it's a really nice tool to allow you to do that. And I'd say it's not limited to just used by one team. So a lot of people think you've got a service desk, it's going to be used by the IT team. We've seen it used by a number of different teams, and different teams using the same system as well, which is something that people don't always realize you can do with the service desk.
That sounds really helpful, Andy. And I guess if you're quite a large organization, that can be really helpful in terms of prioritizing tasks and how you sort of deploy those tasks out to your team members. And I'm guessing it also helps you sort of spot trends in some issues that might be faced by lots of people across your organization.
Yeah, certainly does. As I say, you can, when you log on, you can see your different list of items you've got open. You can do your reporting and things. So you can, as you say, if you're getting a number of different incidents being raised all for the same category, then you can pick up on trends that way.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I've got some more questions lined up for you. Next question, mail integration. Are the mail integration options available within Service Desk? And if there are, what possible scenarios are there for using mail integration within Service Desk?
Yeah, there certainly is. So there's two ways really. You've got the ability for the Service Desk to send automated email notifications out. So for example, when a new call is logged, you can have a customer auto response email be sent to that contact, so they're aware of their item's been logged, that they're aware of their item number, so they know it's been dealt with. You can also do that when an item is updated, when it's closed. So, when an item is reassigned, so maybe one technician's working on it, then it gets passed to another one. So you can have emails automatically sent out to notify the relevant people. But it's not just about the sending of those automated emails that you can configure. You can also configure the Service Desk to download email and process that. By default, out of the box, if you were to configure the incoming email, it would go into what's called a mail center, and then your technicians can work through that mail center and actually process those to new items on the Service Desk and create those to new incidents. Alternatively, there's an incoming email rule system. So if you don't want your technicians, having to monitor this mailbox and the emails coming in, you can set up incoming email rules that will pick up keywords off those emails and automatically log those to an item and put that job in the system. So rather than somebody having to process that email, the system can do that for you. And it can do that for creating of new items from emails, or you can do that for updating existing ones. So if an email is received by the Service Desk system and it contains a reference number, the Service Desk can be configured to detect that and add that email to the relevant open ticket rather than create a new one on the system. So it really does save a lot of time having those processing rules in place, to save somebody having to keep going through a mailbox and things and go through the items. So yeah, it's got a lot of options available there.
And that's why I'm getting such timely emails and notifying me about my updates with my requests and things through our own service desk. Then that explains a lot. Thanks for that, Andy. My next question for you: what about Active Directory integration? So many people in business and some of our clients use Active Directory. How does NetSupport Service Desk integrate with Active Directory? I'm guessing that's possible.
Yeah, so again, there's a couple of different methods for this. We have what's called an Active Directory sync feature. So when you install the Service Desk, essentially it doesn't contain any user information in terms of when a technician goes to create a new item, they would have to type in the contact details. So they'd have to enter in the username that they're logging the incident against, etc. So to save time, you can configure an AD sync feature where you can point your service desk to your Active Directory domain and actually synchronize the user account information from that to pull that through into the service desk, so that you've got that pre-populated list of contacts that your technicians can then pick from. So it makes the whole process of creating new items and not having to go and enter the contact details every time, because that information is already in Active Directory most of the time. So you can take that from the system there. Once you've also done that, there's an additional option, which is Windows authentication. So if you're using that AD sync feature, when you use the service desk, you can configure it so that you can log on with those AD credentials, and that can be as part of a single sign-on. If you're logged onto a device that's joined to your domain and you're detected as a user that's added to the service desk, that it'll automatically log you on. Alternatively, if you're on an external device accessing the service desk, it'll prompt you for your Windows credentials. So there's two great ways that it integrates there.
And ultimately, working to try and save time, make efficiencies, and help with the administration of all those requests that come in from employees as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Andy. My next question about Service Desk: how customizable is it? You talked about an out-of-the-box solution, but once you've got it out of the box, how can you make it more yours?
Yeah, it's very customizable. This is whenever I'm doing product demos of the Service Desk, one of the key things is to show how customizable this is, that it's not just a off-the-shelf solution and you have to use it in a set way. You can create your own categories, you can populate your own priorities, your own resolution codes, your own status codes. So we supply it with pre-populated values for those, but the customer can go in and define their own. So you're not stuck with the ones that we've got in the system. You can define your own life cycles as well. So when you create those status codes, you can define, okay, if you're going from the new status, it can only go into this status and it can't go back. And so you can define your actual life cycle of those items that you're creating. You can generate custom fields. So if you're logging an item and it relates to, it relates to maybe something that is defined by location, you can have customizable fields that pop up where you type in the location. So you can have custom fields that only appear depending on what type of item you're creating, or for a particular user to only be visible to them. You can create custom layouts so that if you're logging on as a particular technician, it shows you a particular layout. If you're logging on to the system as a contact, it shows you a different layout, so you can customize that. The email templates that you send out for the notifications to customers, you can create your own custom templates so that it can be formatted in the way that looks like it's coming from your company. You can define custom permissions. There's a whole SLA feature, so you can define your own custom SLAs to ensure that you're meeting the requirements of your customers. And you can then check on those to see which ones you've maybe matched that SLA, or which ones maybe failed the SLA. Custom workflow rules, so automated escalations to raise a priority if an item's not been dealt with. There are really so many customizations you can do. There's many more. I could probably be here for a long time telling you all about them.
Well, that's really interesting, Andy, because what you've done there as well is highlight some different use case scenarios, because obviously, Service Desk is really useful within an actual organization, but you can clearly use Service Desk to service the needs of your clients as well. So fantastic to learn that. And it is customizable. You can make it your own, with your own branding, your own color schemes, so forth and so on. That's really, really useful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andy. Thank you. My next question for you about Service Desk is the following, if I can get that to work. What are the key features of its reporting options and the dashboard? Because I'm guessing, with all this information flying in, with trying to manage the workload of everyone sort of responding to all these different requests, it's important to know, what you're doing and how well you're doing at it. And again, going back to that idea of things that are trending and current issues and topics through that as well.
Yeah, so there is a dashboard feature, which is brilliant. The team can decide what charts they appear on the dashboard, and then if they've got that digital signage screen in the office, it's a great way. If you've got people coming into your office, they can see how busy you are because they can see how many items you've got logged, how many you've closed today, and other bits of information. So you can go through and actually choose what charts you want to appear, and they will automatically refresh. And that's a nice way of having that visible, not only to the team maybe working in that office, looking at the information, so they can say, okay, yep, we're this busy, we need to get this queue down, we need to get these ones sorted, or this assignee's got the most assigned to them, so we need to help them. So having that information visible and on screen somewhere is really nice. But say it's really nice if you've got people walking into your department and maybe think you're not that busy, they can look at the board and say, okay, you are actually quite busy at the minute. So it's nice to have that kind of visible dashboard, which is available in Service Desk. There are more management style reports as well. So you've got the report designer, where essentially using the report designer, you can go through and actually create your own report. So if you need to run off a report at the end of the month to say how many calls each technician closed, you can do certain things like that. So you can create your own custom reports. There are some predefined ones in the system, and you can go through and edit those and use those to create your own, to get information and ideas as to how you want to tailor those. There's also custom searches available. So not only is it about kind of using those management reports in the dashboard, there's a lot of information that can get populated into the Service Desk. So it's nice to have the ability to do custom searches, and you can link those as quick links on the main right-hand menu. So if you want to look at, okay, what's each team, or what's this contact got raised with them, if you've got particular requirements, you can click on those links to see an item list straight away defined on your own specified conditions. And then you can get to that information nice and quickly rather than having to hunt through all of the data in the Service Desk. It's nice to have the custom searches available too.
It's so big, isn't it? There's so many things you can do with it. This is fantastic. Thanks for sharing all these things, Andy. My last question for you about Service Desk is, what options are available for enabling self-help? Now, I'm assuming this isn't anything to do with sort of medical self-help, but more about sort of how you get sort of quick fixes and common issues and frequently asked questions, those sorts of things, I'm guessing?
Exactly. So within the Service Desk, there's a component which is called the solutions. So you've got your incidents, you've got your problems, and you've got your change requests, which are the items you've got raised against different people. But the solutions allows the technician team to build up almost like a knowledge base, if you like, of how items were resolved. So you can link categories to those, and then you can put your text on it. So you can build up like this, how-to guides, or how to quickly resolve these items. So the Service Desk doesn't have to just be accessed by the technical team. You can also provide access to your contacts to this, so your end users that you're supporting. So they can go on and actually log their own items, but as part of that, they could always access the solutions. So rather than have to raise something with the technical team first, they could always have a quick browse through the solution. So, if they've come across a particular issue, they could look through the solutions first, and then the answer might already be there. So again, that can save time for your technical team without having to deal with, maybe all the easy items. They could point them to the solutions first, so that's an area that they can signpost to them. Now, it's also handy for the technical team as well, though, because as a technical team, you might deal with one issue. It might have taken you a long time to fix it. So you could, again, put that in as a solution. And then the next time that maybe crops up 6 months later and somebody goes, how did we fix that? We can't remember. The technical team themselves could go through that solutions to see how was that tricky call resolved. And, so it's not only a resource for the contacts, but something for the technical team to utilize as well.
Fantastic. I mean, there are so many options here available in Service Desk and so many ways in which you can support and help. That's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andy. And if you're interested in learning more about NetSupport Service Desk, as has been sort of scrolling across the bottom of the screen during the course of this recording, you can find out more by visiting netsupportservicedesk.com. Or alternatively, you can go through to our main site, netsupportsoftware.com, and you'll find a little chat bot in the corner. We're on social media at NetSupport Group, and there's lots of ways you can get in touch and find out more about our various award-winning products. Thanks so much to you for your time today, Andy. Really appreciate it and look forward to our next conversation where we dig a bit deeper into the products available from NetSupport Group. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.